SBRForum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing Week 8 in college football, and we're talking right now with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Regular guest, having a great year at his site, and handicapping games in our videos absolutely for free. Joe Duffy, thanks for being back with us.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, we're going to get into a South Carolina, Tennessee, a similar game to the other college game that we just analyzed. Before we get into it, give a little plug for OffshoreInsiders.com.
OffshoreInsiders.com is the home to several sports services, but it's led by me, the anchor handicapper. Joe Duffy's Picks. It's been a great year. We're going to enter the weekend on a 7-2 run with our highest rated Wise Guy plays, and the biggest one so far comes our college football game of the year. Plus, we're going to have a big weekend in the NFL as well, all at OffshoreInsiders.com.
Game of the frickin' year, Joe Duffy?
That it is, absolutely. And we've done pretty well. I honestly don't have my exact record, but in my 26 years in the business, we've hit it a whole heck of a lot more than we've missed it.
Game of the frickin'. Do you mind if I ask you which game that involves?
No, go ahead.
Which game does your frickin' game of the year involve this week, Joe Duffy?
It is Florida, Missouri, and I will say it's by an angle that only applies a couple times a year. Shockingly, it does apply twice this weekend. We've hit with it many times. It's the first 2 times it has applied this year, plus some other reasons as well.
All right. Second game we're going to discuss is Tennessee and South Carolina. Now, this is similar to the Georgia Vanderbilt game we just discussed. I think I'm seeing a big edge here as well, but not the same as the last game. I'll tell you what it is, right? Tennessee right now is +7. It was 7.5 yesterday, and the total currently is 54 or 54.5. Tennessee, also an SEC team off of a bye. South Carolina, though, as opposed to Georgia, who was off of a questionable week, off a blowout win over Arkansas, looking like they're solving a lot of their problems. So I wouldn't be so quick to bet Tennessee here at all. What I do like, though, is the over at 54. I think that Tennessee, the strength of their team is the offensive line. They should be able to put up some points. South Carolina may very well have another huge offensive game. Tennessee does have weakness on defense. So I think if I had to bet this game, it would be on the over 54. What do you think, Joe Duffy?
Well, that's not a bad bet. Obviously, when Steve Spurrier came to South Carolina, he had the reputation of being an offensive genius. His Florida teams were some of the most dominant offenses. But since he's come to South Carolina, he's been the polar opposite, where they've normally been ball control, tough defensive teams. But all of a sudden, with that nice 1-2 punch of Connor Shaw, Mike Davis, they've both been doing very well this year. In fact, they've gone over 4 of their last 5. They've scored 30 or more in every SEC game, and in fact, 35 or more in the last 3 SEC games. So South Carolina, although in recent years they've been a ball-controlled, defensive-oriented team, kind of like LSU, they've changed the complexion of the team this year. So, yeah, the odds makers haven't quite caught up to South Carolina. I would agree with that play, and you're right. The Tennessee does have some young talent at the skill positions on offense. So they're a team that's going to live and die with a pretty darn good offense. All
right. Sounds good. So are you going to go with me on this one and make your official pick on the over, or are you going to take a pick on the side?
No, I'm going to go with you. And UT is also, for their 6 plays, or for their last 6, they've scored 31 or more points. So, no, we definitely agree on this one. We seem to agree 75, 80% of the time, and this is one of those times that we do agree.
Awesome. So you mean coming into this call, your pick was going to be on the over, or were you just going to pick a side, and then after you heard my analysis, you just switched?
No, honestly, I don't know if I'm going to have a premium play on this game. I'm probably not. But if I were going to pick a side, I was going to pick Tennessee. In fact, I'm going to make a highly controversial statement, and I'll happily explain it why. Are you sitting down for this one, Peter?
Yes, I'm always sitting
down. All
right.
Well, Tennessee does have Alabama next. South Carolina has Missouri next. But South Carolina is in a bigger look-ahead situation than Tennessee is.
Okay.
And that's the key there. Look ahead doesn't necessarily always refer to the quality of your next opponent. It is the situation. Tennessee, this is a big home game for them. They can't really afford to look ahead. They know if they win this game at home, they can establish themselves as a team that's going back. But South Carolina, believe it or not, the one team that they have to beat in order to control their own destiny is next week, Missouri. Now, that, of course, depends. As I said, coincidentally enough, Florida, Missouri is my college football game of the year, but those teams are playing simultaneously. South Carolina won't know the result of that. So, in reality, even though Tennessee plays a much tougher opponent, the look-ahead situation being the key word here, South Carolina is in more of a look-ahead here than Tennessee is.
All right, Joe Duffy. Well, this video might not contain your best pick ever in SBRForum videos, but it definitely contains your best joke ever. Are you sitting down for this one? That was a good one, Joe Duffy. That was a Class A joke. Thanks so much, Joe Duffy, agreeing with me, liking the over 54 in South Carolina, Tennessee. Talk to you again very soon, Joe.